here from Texas that I do know, she knows who Jari Askins is. If there's one person who I believe is the inspiration for why we're here today, it is her, and I'll tell more about that in a minute. But she's led in all three branches of our state government. She has been the top elected official since I've known her that has been the person who is the best spokesperson across the state and nationally because of her relationship with the Aerospace States Association about aerospace and about Oklahoma and about teachers and education and young people and doing the right thing by our teachers and by our young people, helping them find a great job and a great career and a great quality of life in the state of Oklahoma. My good friend, your Lieutenant Governor, Jari Askins.
It is a real treat for me to be able to be here because I get excited about this day. This is only the third year that we have had TV Education and Training Day. And we are so pleased that others in industry have recognized the importance of figuring out how we engage the imaginations, the brains, the intellectual capacity of our students to give them an idea that, hey, you know what, I can work in Oklahoma and I can work in an exciting field like aerospace. And I have to tell you that this began a few years ago. Now, I usually start by telling you, if you came to my office, to the Lieutenant Governor's office, and you climbed up the stairs to the part where my personal office is, there's a plaque on the wall. It's a quote by Ralph Waldo Emerson, and it's a quote that I read every time I go up the stairs, and it says, "Do not go where there is a path. Go instead where there is no path and leave a trail." And you are here today, you the teachers, you our educators, our aerospace mentors, and our business representatives, our industry partners are here because we want you to help us go where there is no path. Now there's beginning to be some evidence that people have walked this way because we've had 2 years of this. But we're a long way from where we think we need to go, and you are the ones who can help us chart that direction. Because we know we must begin to unite education, industry, and government aerospace. We have to be able to do that. We believe Oklahoma's future does give us a chance to become the global destination for aerospace. We believe that. We have seen it in our workforce, we have seen it in our work product, and we believe we can see it in our future as well. So what you have to understand is that for me, this all goes back truly to probably my first year as Lieutenant Governor when I attended one of the State Superintendent's summer leadership conferences, and I took notes because I was a good student. Well, I think I actually, because my last name was A, my teachers always put me on the front row. I later learned it was because I talked to all the people if I was sitting in the back of the class. But when you sit on the front row, you tend to take notes. And so I was taking notes because I was sitting on the front row at Sandy's conference. And I was making notes about where she thought our educational system needed to go. Those thoughts from that particular year have stayed with me as sometimes I have a chance to talk to educational foundations or groups of teachers or groups of parents about what we need to be doing. And some of those comments included that we need as a state to develop a culture where learning is valued, not just value because of the product that comes out, but value because of what we put in. That return on investment is important, that we must invest if we expect to get a high return. That we needed to create a consensus that we needed to prepare all students for the workforce. All students were capable of being prepared to work somewhere. And hopefully our job is to help find their passion and unlock that ability for them to perform at their potential. And that as times were changing, we needed to begin to invest in technology and the resources that would allow our educators to help prepare our students. Those were just some of the things that she talked about, but it all involved in investing in our schools as a priority for the state. So this Aerospace Education and Training Day is happening because business and industry, employers and employees, management and labor also recognize they have a responsibility to invest in the education of Oklahoma students. So where we know, I mean, everybody who runs for elective office, if they pay attention, hears that we know that education is the great equalizer. It is an opportunity regardless of your social background, your economic background. It doesn't matter where you come, your ethnic background. Education is key to the success and to Oklahoma's future. Economic growth has told us over and over again, high school education is not enough for what we need to do to be able to move Oklahoma higher. Additional certification, either through career tech or higher degrees, are essential to performance in our state and for the kinds of jobs that we want to have. Now, my last term in the legislature, I became familiar with STEM, science, technology, engineering, and math. I tried to introduce some legislation. I did introduce it, I just never could get hearings on it. That happens sometimes when you're a candidate for office and your opponent's running people in charge. It's reality. But actually, some of the STEM education that I proposed at that time was recognizing we needed more teachers to come back. We needed more folks with those degrees to come back and teach in our school systems. And so we tried to craft some ways that perhaps college loans could be forgiven if you've been teaching so many years and such a percent. Didn't happen, but I just want you to know we think that way because we recognize that we have to have more people who are engaged and want to be engaged in these fields. We have to have them in our classrooms if we're going to create the workforce to put in the pipeline for jobs in the future. When I was a child, and a lot of you are close to my age, we got excited when the United States of America got seized by that competitive spirit and the fact that we wanted to catch up after Sputnik had already been launched. And we were challenged as a country, and even as a child we could feel it. We were challenged to not just win the race to the moon, but also to bring people back safely. We won that race. We won that race. When I first met Ben Robinson, his conversation with me was, how do we raise that competitive spirit today? How do we find out how to unlock that same enthusiasm in this generation? All of this leads to why you all are here. You all have had an opportunity, some of you to hear speakers yesterday and to participate in a wonderful event that I know you had last night at the Air Logistics Center. So you've had an opportunity to get a better feel for what Oklahoma's aerospace industry is about. Many of you are returning aerospace fellows, and we are so grateful that first you chose to participate, and second that you believe it is worthwhile enough to continue to come again. That tells us we're beginning to be on the right track, so thank you for that. 1 in 10 jobs has been said to be related to Oklahoma's aeronautics, aviation, and aerospace industry. Now, in a state that prides itself on high energy employment, sometimes it's hard to believe that that many people in Oklahoma can be somewhat connected to our aerospace industry. I believe it can be higher. I believe it can be more. We know that there's work that's out there that if we had the workforce to do the jobs, to complete the work, we could put more work on the table here in Oklahoma. I'm competitive enough. I don't want that going to Slaughterville, Texas, or wherever those jobs could end up. He's a pilot, you know, navigation systems. We know, and you hear a lot of talk. You saw our largest single-site employer in the state of Oklahoma last night at the Air Logistics Center. To put it in perspective, how many employees do you have, General? 27,000. That's bigger than my hometown of Duncan, Oklahoma. 27,000 working at the Air Logistics Center. And you know what? Duncan's not one of the smallest cities in the state. So you got to figure there are more people every day